Welcome to the future of L&D, becoming a key influencer in your company's retention and success strategies. Our world is changing, and you have an opportunity to become a key influencer in helping your company stay ahead of the curve and rise to the top when many others will be struggling and scratching their heads. My name is Debbie Wooldridge, and I'm the CEO and founder of ttcInnovations. ttcInnovations is the leading outsourced training vendor working to help companies align their business needs with the emerging workforce.
And I'm Kesha Dougan. I am the innovation lead at ttcInnovations, and my focus is to encourage and inspire and help our team build innovative and engaging solutions for our clients' workforce. And we are ready to get started. I'll take the first part. Miss Debbie will be back up here in a moment. So, as of 2015, 35% of the workforce was made up of millennials. That is more than 1 in every 3 workers. In 2025, it is expected that millennials will make up 75% of the global market. 75%. Now, I know that a lot of you may be thinking right now, holy smokes, that is a lot of millennials, right? Well, guess what? It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fantastic for you because this is an opportunity for the learning and development industry. First of all, with this influx, there is going to be a sea of employees that are going to be promoted into positions faster than ever before. And they may not have the skill set or the information they need to do a good job. So L&D will be there to help bridge that gap, okay? But that's the simple thing. That's very obvious. There's something else. Something that makes your importance in the organization a pivotal piece in the prosperity and in the livelihood of your company's future. Here's Debbie to tell you what that is.
Thanks, Kesha. According to a recent study, training and development is the #1 perk that millennials look for when evaluating a prospective employer. This generation is clamoring to advance themselves professionally, and they don't want the slow climb up the corporate ladder. They want to take a rocket ship. And this thirst for learning, combined with the soon very competitive job market to entice millennial talent and then retain them, is the perfect recipe for your L&D team to shine and be the hero of your organization. Now, hopefully your organization has already begun to plan for this. If not, you've got some work to do, and you need to get ready. This is a huge shift, and there's no immunity. All companies, organizations, and individuals will be impacted, if they have not yet already, by the changing workforce structure. Now, hopefully this comes as no surprise to you, but millennials think differently, respond differently, and view learning differently than any other generation before them. And there's so much to discover about millennials. The #1 reason that millennials leave a company is because they don't feel like they're developing or growing within the organization. Millennials embrace learning and growing more than any other generation. And unfortunately, as we all know, learning is often the first place that companies cut in their budgets. And with this generation, that could be an even bigger mistake than ever before. Millennials are looking for companies that value learning and have robust development programs available to them. So, where do you go from here? We have a 3-step plan to share with you. Step #1 may be easy for some of you, but may be a mountain to climb for others. Step 1 is to share with your company the risk of continuing business as usual operations with the leadership of your organization. Now, here's a couple of things that you can offer your leadership. According to the 2017 Deloitte Millennials survey, only 31% of millennials see themselves with their current employer within the next 5 years. And the turnover rates are even more challenging from the earliest years of employment of millennials. In fact, 62% of millennials leave their job within the first 2 years of being hired. And according to the survey done by the SHRM in 2016, the top 3 workforce management challenges faced by organizations today are retention, engagement, and recruitment. So what does this mean for you? You, training and development, have the opportunity to be a huge part of the solution to HR's #1 problem. Go training! So, what's the impact of millennial turnover? In our work with the Millennial Project, we uncovered that it costs between $15,000 and $25,000 to replace a millennial, and that number is expected to increase. The amounts that this costs the United States economy is $30.5 billion annually. So is the future hopeless? Absolutely not. You can make an immediate impact to alter these numbers within your own organization by embracing and supporting millennials' desire for professional development. And we're ready for step 2, Kesha.
Absolutely. Step number 2 is become a millennial expert. There is these unique individuals. There's so much information out there about them, and they think differently, respond differently, and you need to understand the world from their perspective. So become a constant learner about millennials. Whatever it is, Google, YouTube, read some blogs, or sign up for a seminar or a workshop. Whatever your learning style is, dive down in and really begin to understand this generation. Because while you do this, it's critical as you begin developing the learning that you're going to develop for them. Now, I want to give you one big piece of caution as you dive into step number 2 of becoming a millennial expert, and that is work really, really hard to avoid negative pieces about millennials, because there's a lot of them out there, and it is so unfortunate. There's a real bias towards this generation right now, and you have to work hard to find those positive pieces. And what I want you to focus on while you're out there researching is that every single generation is shaped by the world they were raised in. And they're inherently different. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. And this generation is different from any other generation before them and any other generation after them. So really, really, really focus on looking for the gifts that this generation has to offer and all those positive pieces. Because again, they're soon going to be the majority of your workforce, okay? And if you can learn to tap into the potential and all the gifts they have to offer, you can use this to help your company prosper and grow. Okay, step number 3. Step number 3 is the biggest. And this one is to realign your learning strategies. And this is not new to any of this. We're constantly realigning our learning strategies as we learn more about our learners, correct? So we need to do the same thing with millennials. Millennials have been telling us they want things a little bit different than they have in the past because they think differently and respond differently and view learning differently. And you really have a huge opportunity to drive home those mindset shifts and incremental changes your company and the managers must take to attract those millennials and retain them. And here's Debbie to introduce our first tip for you.
Thanks, Kesha. So what we'd like to share with you is the biggest impacts for you to take away as you begin to look at how to tweak your learning materials for this generation. The first way is to personalize learning. Today, everything is personalized, from the recommendations you receive on your shopping experiences at Amazon to the way you order your latte at Starbucks. Younger generations are especially motivated to self-learning, and truth be told, younger members of your workforce are skilled at finding information. They're already used to personalized, self-directed learning and finding answers to their questions. So what may be lacking, though, is the ability to decipher good learning from bad. And if they are given the tools that are vetted by your learning organization, there's a high probability that employees will drive a lot of their own development, seek out new roles as their self-awareness increases, and gain a deeper insights into their own strengths and growth opportunities. Personalized learning puts the learners in the center of their own opportunities. One size doesn't fit all. Every learner has individual learning needs and styles, and this is where personalized learning comes into the picture. So let's take a look at some tips to help you create a successful personalized learning experience in your organization. Our first tip is empowerment. Employees must feel as if they are in control of their own learning experience. This can be achieved by allowing them to choose which activities to complete when, how they want to receive their content, and even what types of assessments they want to take. Leveraging your employees' self-improvement and giving them the mechanisms to lead part of the design of their own development will empower them to seek out the opportunities that they need to grow within your organization. Personalized learning offers employees a way to help them achieve short and long-term learning goals. Milestones give employees the chance to check their progress against those milestones, check their progress along the way and ensure that they're going down the proper path. Not all employees have the same personal learning style or preferences. As a leader in your company's L&D organization, you need to become a strong voice for pushing forward the idea that your company can no longer offer a one-size-fits-all in training. Think about the fact that auditory learners would have the opportunity to have a virtual lecture or podcast, while giving virtual or visual learners the opportunity to view that same content in an e-learning video, or perhaps an image-rich content. For those who prefer to read their way through courses, put that content into a text-based module. Additionally, look very closely at offering learning in bite-sized chunks. According to the Millennial branding, Millennials switch tasks up to 27 times per hour. So if you want to keep this generation engaged, you have to move quickly. Variety gives every employee the opportunity to benefit from the training program and create a learning path that is ideally suited for their own needs. Keep in mind that this benefits not only Millennials, but all of your employees. And finally, feedback. Even though the personal learning path is, well, personal, employees still need some form of direction and feedback. For Millennial employees, this is vital. The key is to give the learner constructive criticism that they require while still giving them the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. Likewise, you should definitely solicit their feedback so that you can fine-tune your learning program to ensure that you're consistently meeting their learning needs. Kesha, you want to finish this step up?
Absolutely. Our next tip in realigning your learning strategies is to focus on human contact. So many people think that Millennials want everything online, right? Let's give them the training all online so they can take it from their smartphone or play games and do a gaming piece on their technology. And while technology is fantastic in small doses, nothing beats learning from human contact. Okay, you know, in 2016, we did an independent research study at ttcInnovations, and we interviewed both Millennials and managers about their learning preferences. And we asked the Millennials, how do you like to learn new skills? Let's see what they said. The top 3 choices, human contact, from peers, from their manager, from mentors. Now, we asked the managers, which types of training courses or programs appeal most to the Millennials you work with? Here's what they said. Number 1 choice, self-paced online courses. So as you can see, we have an absolute clear disconnect with this. So you want to be careful in that drive for let's do everything online, let's make all of these fantastic online courses, because that's not what Millennials truly want. And you'll find that out when you begin doing all that research, when you're doing step number 2 on becoming a Millennial expert. So ILT is still very much a viable option for these folks. In fact, ILT, if you think about it, that Millennials crave that collaboration. They crave that human interaction and immediate feedback. And instructor-led training gives them that. It puts them in a room with other people. It's engaging, it's hands-on, it can be very collaborative, and they get that immediate feedback. So you don't want to discount instructor-led learning in the future. You know, virtual instructor-led learning, you still have that human contact, but there's a few challenges there in that, as we all know, virtual instructor-led training needs to be very engaging for everyone, not just Millennials, right? We can all go to sleep and sometimes in a VILT class. But with Millennials, you have to think about keeping someone engaged that has grown up texting while listening to music, while watching TV, while doing their homework all at the same time. So there's a lot of challenges there. You really have to make it engaging. And you know, so it cannot be this talking head where you rest on the same PowerPoint for about 10 minutes, right? Okay, our next tip falls right in line with the human contact, and that is mentoring. Mentoring is a wonderful way for learning and building in that human contact. You know, lots of companies are doing really successful programs with this. Like McGraw-Hill and Intel, they actually have formal mentoring programs that pair up mentors with mentees based on the skills that they want to learn. Very, very, very successful. I want to give you some statistics that we've gathered about mentorship. While training on its own has shown a 22.8% increase in productivity, when coupled with mentoring, that number rises to a 90% increase in productivity. Second, new employees who receive mentors acclimate to an organization twice as quickly as those who don't have a mentor. And finally, employees who choose to be a part of a mentorship program have a 25% higher retention rate than those who do not participate. Mentorship is key. Now, I do want to give you a little bit of caution, because back in the survey, you saw that the number one thing is that millennials like is learning from peers. And there's a little bit of concern with that, and that they might not, if they're working with their peers, they might not get the level of information or the accurate information that they need. But building in a formal mentorship program and a structured mentorship program gives them that access to get that collaborative learning under your guide. Okay, I want to introduce you to one additional term, and that is reverse mentoring. Reverse mentoring is a way to encourage and facilitate cross-generational relationships. Okay, it involves pairing a younger junior employee acting as a mentor to a more senior colleague. And millennials really do make great mentors. For example, let's say you have a younger worker that has a broader experience in social media and digital components. You pair them with a more senior person and they can teach them a lot of things that they didn't know about the digital world. Okay, that's just one example. Now, reverse mentoring is wonderful, but I actually want to erase this word. Now that I've taught you, I want to erase it from your vocabulary, not the concept. The concept is fabulous. It's the word, reverse mentoring. It actually devalues the millennial a little bit. Mentoring is mentoring. In fact, the definition of mentoring is a professional relationship in which an experienced person, the mentor, assists another, the mentee, in developing specific skills and knowledge that will enhance the less experienced person's professional and personal growth. It matters not whether the mentor or the mentee is younger or older. So wipe this from your vocabulary, but keep the concept of it. You can create some amazing cross-generational collaboration. Because this wonderful quote that we want to share with you, we need to remember across generations, there is as much to learn as there is to teach. There you have it. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Share the need for the change, become a millennial expert, and realign your learning strategies. Now, we know that none of these things are actually easy, but they are doable, and they are necessary. The L&D organization can really be the knight in white shining armor that swoops in to take your company into the future. Before we go, I want to leave you with one last staggering statistic. In a recent study, training and development ranked 300% higher than cash bonuses for millennials. Millennials not only seek continuous improvement and development, but 2/3 expect their employers to provide them with the opportunities. This is from the Bridge website. So, according to this, y'all outrank cash. That's pretty incredible. So stand a little taller, raise your head up, because learning and development matters more than it ever has before.